Good morning and welcome back, my brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This guy over here is Tim, and this is The Second Legacy, and thank you so much for stopping by. On today's show, we've got a few things. We've got suing gun manufacturers out of existence, but the government's also catching a little bit of the heat. Then we also have 20 different states which are going against Mexico and the blue states against your gun rights. This is something that you are going to want to see, and I cannot wait to see what you guys say in the comments field down there. And if you want to see Second Legacy grow, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, and making sure you turn that notification bell on so we can get freedom delivered to you every day on the daily, and that would be amazing. And thank you so much in advance for your consideration. Now, the content today is brought to you by our sponsor, Bullet Safe. Say a quick word, and then we are going to hit these points of deliciousness. Now, the vest you're seeing me wear is from Bullet Safe, and they've sponsored these videos. Bullet Safe is on a mission to be the #1 provider for safety equipment such as this for not only the civilian, but also the security market. Now, the VP3 that I'm wearing comes in at $299.97, which makes it completely affordable and provides up to or better than Kevlar protection. This thing is NIJ level 3 tested. You are talking about up to 44 Magnum stopping on this bad boy. They've made it concealable, discreet, comfortable, and breathable. It's modular and upgradable, and in comparison to previous models, it's 50% thinner and 25% lighter. As you can see, I'm wearing in the filming of this spot, and it is not even adding to any of my dexterity whatsoever. This is something very concealable, and if you're in the market, this might be something just for you, and thank you to Bullet Safe for making this content possible. All right, so thank you so much to Bullet Safe for making this content possible. Before we do anything, I have to check my boxes. Tim, how the hell are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. Let's flip the script and ask you how you're doing.
Oh, see that? See that? I'm doing great. I'm doing great,
Awesome.
Tim. You know, my voice is a little gravelier than normal. I got a little more bass in there because apparently as I get older, pollen just made me you know.
Me too. I have to deal with it too, you know.
So that's where
Every
I'm at,
year.
you know. And I live in the state of Georgia where every spring the sky just turns yellow. So whatever, I'll be fine. It's no big deal. We can make this happen. But we've got to talk about some stuff today, Tim. And thank you for inquiring as to my well-being. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
That's
what I'm here for.
You know, I love ceding the order to you. So what do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about Uvalde, or you want to talk about red states smacking around Mexico and blue states? What do you want to do?
Let's go to the red states.
Ooh, a fine choice, a fine vintage. All right, Mr. Producer, could you throw number 7 up and we will start this bad boy off. Red states rush to defend gun manufacturers from Mexican lawsuits seeking damages for gun violence. Now, I'm going to put a little backstory to this because this is a saga. So, if you guys are not familiar with this, what had happened was the Mexican government decided to sue the gun manufacturers from Mexico in United States court, and then we had a whole bunch of blue gun control states and Attorney General like Rob Bonta from California. You had New York jump on there. Letitia James jumped in there. There was lots of states that were like, you know what? Gun rights are bad. And even if we have to betray our people for a Mexican lawsuit, we're going to stand behind it. Well, even after all that, and in a Massachusetts-based court, it got thrown out. So what do? You quite simply appeal it. And that is what brings us to right now. So, high level, Mexican government suing U.S. manufacturers over gun production that the military sold Mexico. This is going to be fun. So, you know, just at that high level, what do you think, Tim? You've seen this occur for a little while.
I love the phrase gun violence, you know. It's right up there with alcohol violence and car violence and bomb violence, poison violence. We really have to get these inanimate objects under control because they're just running amok in today's society. We have all these things running around hurting people, and we can't seem to figure out who's causing it. It's almost like there's somebody behind this, like a physical person.
I think it's the materials they're made out of.
Do these things. If we could just find those people. Hold them accountable. But anyway, so red states rushing to defend those manufacturers from Mexican lawsuits. So get this, right? So from that article, it says that we sold them, the country of the United States, sold the Mexican government, military police, firearms, and they lost control of them, and they wound up being used by the cartels to hurt people. And now they want to hold our manufacturers, not our government, our manufacturers responsible. This is a money grab. I wonder, is the ATF named in this lawsuit with the Fast and Furious thing? Obama? Or are they just going to go after the gun manufacturers? You know, we had actual government entities that were actually giving guns directly to the cartels. That was our government.
Tim, why do you hate everyone? Why do you hate everyone? You were just so full of hate. You're just so full of hate.
I don't hate anybody. I don't hate anybody.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I'm just spitting facts.
I certainly don't hate inanimate objects.
No, but you are right, though. So why can the Mexican government sue the United States gun manufacturers for something that they did not do? But at the exact same time, the scandal of Fast and Furious, no consequences whatsoever when it's the exact same part of the world, the exact same government. And we actually had United States Border Patrol who were actually casualties in that little shenanigan.
Yep.
What's that about? I believe the gentleman's name was Brian Terry, right?
Yes. And
yeah, I mean,
it's disgusting. It's truly disgusting, and it's so obvious what they're doing, yet nobody really talks about it. I would imagine outside of this little media blip, I don't think it's going to get a whole lot of media play. It's just the fact that they're doing it, and that these gun companies have to defend themselves from this, right?
Yep.
So it's going to cost them because you have a state suing individual companies, and states, rob the pockets of their people, tax revenue, and they steal all that money, and then they use it to fund initiatives like this, which is just a complete waste of money. It's in my view, you know how I feel about Marxists and communists. It's just one Marxist regime propping up another, right? Mexico is literally assisting the Biden regime. That's all they're doing, right? They're just being buddy-buddy. Like, you want to ban guns? Well, let us jump in the fray here. Maybe we can get a few billion out of it, too, while we're at it. It's
exactly. And it is billions of dollars for you guys watching. So that's actually we're going to put a pin in that for 1 second, because that actually ties in to the Uvalde part that ties in on this next story. But what's happening in this one is normally, I mean, Tim, you've seen many times where red states just won't say anything, or red AGs, attorney general, won't say anything, but it's the opposite this time. There are 20 states in these United States that are affirming gun rights, and they're actually filing amicus briefs against the Mexicans in the lawsuit, and they're saying all sorts of things like what we just showed you on screen. All these weapons that you're referencing and you're blaming on the gun manufacturers came from U.S. sales to Mexican sales, and then it was filtered out to cartels and criminals. Yep. How exactly is that a manufacturer problem? I mean, they openly say it in the brief, and there's lots of other really great quotes. It's linked down there if you guys want to see it. But I love to see that, because it's kind of we're starting to pick away at the invincible monster of, it'll just pass over. It's like, no, I'm going to help it pass over. Have an amicus brief. And I love that coming from states.
Yeah. Well, again, states and people are standing up to this nonsense, and we need to. Instead of just sitting silently by and letting it happen, we need to defend our manufacturers. We need to defend American industry. And if the Mexicans want to play this game, cut them off. Just cut them off. Well, don't sell your stuff to them.
And I think that's the simplest solution.
Yeah.
If that's where the problems came from, well, you know what? Those manufacturers, of which supplied the United States government, which then supplied the Mexican government, it's the manufacturer's fault. Yeah. What? Why don't you take the other step in that chain? That doesn't make any sense.
And they're going to have to find a friendly court to even get this through, because, a conservative court's going to look at this just on its merits and go, this is bogus, and toss it. So they're going to have to go. They don't even have
standing.
No. It's insanity. It's insanity. And if this makes it to court, it's just a testament to how far we've fallen. It's just crazy.
But that's the thing that bothers me so bad. It's like, why does a foreign government have stance to sue United States companies in U.S. court when you have no standing?
Here's the thing, and this is what people that are supporting this nonsense don't care or don't understand or just don't know. And that's if they're successful in doing this to gun manufacturers and they get billions, it's a small step to go, well, let's go after car manufacturers. Let's go after alcohol manufacturers. Let's go after cigarette manufacturers. Let's just go after everybody in America, because they all have deep pockets. We're just going to pirate the money out of them through the court system.
It
opens that door, because manufacturers are not responsible for the misuse of their products. If their products are safe, there's not a glaring, engineering problem with them that's causing harm to people. It's a perfectly safe product. There's really no basis to sue them, and that's why we have a federal law that presumably protects gun manufacturers from these bogus lawsuits. The
Protection of Lawful Commerce and Arms Act. Now, this is something that Biden, and Tim, that was such a good segue. You must have done this for a while. That was incredible. So the thing that is important about this is you have to understand, if you're watching, this is the law that Biden continually hits when he says repeal protections for the Second Amendment community that no other industry has. That's crap, by the way. The pharmaceutical industry has the exact same protections. Anyway, let's keep going, because you can't sue them if something goes wrong. But the The PLCAA is so incredibly important, and it wasn't that long ago, because Republicans noticed what the left was doing. They were suing companies out of existence, and they were achieving gun control through attacking the supply chain. It's the exact same thing they've been doing forever. It's just they tried different tactics across the board, and then we just happen to be down on it, and we're starting to catch up and get in front of them. But that puts the entire onus on the gun manufacturer, which means you bleed them dry in lawfare. Which brings us to our next point. Mr. Producer, could you throw up number 4 for me? Uvalde families dig in for new tests of gun industry protections. And could you switch to number 5 just so I can set this up? The lawsuits relatives and victims of mass shootings say are an effort to get accountability and prevent more attacks by forcing reforms, hurting the gun industry's bottom line, and strengthening background checks after lapses fail to stop gunmen from buying weapons. Now, this article, again, everything is always linked. We bring receipts on this channel. But this article goes into something very interesting that a lot of the gun control conversations don't ever go to. For example, did you know that most of the time the people and the entities that are sued and actually end up paying or get cases thrown out are the government for background check failures, not the manufacturers? Did you know that? Because
I didn't.
That's right in here. Number 6, Mr. Producer. The track record for lawsuits following mass shootings is mixed. The gun industry remains largely protected from liability under a federal law known as the Protection of Lawful Commerce and Arms Act, though it does not completely exempt or immunize gun manufacturers from lawsuits. This part. Over the last decades, courts have tossed numerous lawsuits, many of which did not target the gun industry, but instead brought negligence claims against the government or the places where the attacks took place. That's the piece. If this was truly about bringing forward reforms and really hurting the gun companies right where it hurt them, then why are you suing the government? Why is the government being named in those lawsuits? Because I thought it was the gun manufacturers.
Yeah, Tim, and on top of that, which is interesting, is that the government's tossing the court cases against the government.
Right. It's like, how did you think this was going to
go after the gun manufacturers. It's not us. It's not our fault that we pushed this scheme of Nix on you, and it keeps failing. It's not our fault. It's the gun manufacturers.
But see, this is where it gets interesting, even more so, because I find this entire line of attack intriguing. Because on its face, it does not work. However, because there are so many different avenues that the court systems can point to, you get different outcomes, which is what they tend to chase. Like, for example, this last part of number 6, Mr. Producer, right here. In 2020, the casino company MGM Resorts International and its insurers, we'll come back to that in a second, agreed to an $800 million settlement over a shooting at the Las Vegas Strip that killed 58 people and injured hundreds more. The insurers, does that ring any bells for you, Tim?
Oh, yeah. See, so that's what brought Remington down and things like that, right? So
exactly.
The law protects gun manufacturers from frivolous lawsuits about their product. But where they brought Remington down was going after their insurer and going after marketing, which isn't mentioned in the law. So they said that their marketing was not criminal, but that their marketing targeted people and it tried to incentivize people to commit acts of violence. It was catering to a certain segment of the population that was interested in doing such horrible things. And of course, it's completely bogus. But it worked because the insurance company, Remington didn't say, just give them the money and make them go away. The insurer just said, yeah, let's just make this go away. And so it's a tactic that, in my opinion, Congress needs to address this when we get the Marxists out of power and actually get, conservative, representation going again. We need to pass another law saying, and you can't go after things like marketing campaigns. You just need to stop suing everybody and blaming them for a perfectly safe product that's being misused. Stop ignoring the fact that there are criminals doing this and there are people within our government that are empowering these criminals, emboldening these criminals, not prosecuting these criminals, turning these criminals loose after they commit heinous acts. And that's why this is happening, right? They're causing this chaos, and then they're coming back to using this chaos that they're causing to come back and take our rights away from us. And I cannot stand to watch this anymore.
It's so interesting. Oh, and it should. It rightfully should. Anyone watching this show, it should as well. But it's interesting because they play this game, and this is something that I've observed for about a year and a half, 2 years now. They play this game of, we're not going to empower these people individually. What we're going to do is loosen the overall standards across the board. So we're going to set the table for bad things to happen, but we didn't do it directly, so it's not our fault. Like Larry Krasner in Philadelphia is a great example. A lot of the woke DAs that are going all over the nation, particularly in blue states, they do these types of policies where no one's held to account. In San Diego, in California, you can steal up to, I think it's $900 or $1,000 with zero consequences. So what the intention was, well, let's not penalize people for petty crimes. So, but all that happened was people go, wait, it's $900? Okay, I'm going to keep track of what I'm stealing. I'm at $888. Yeah. You can't. I didn't steal $1,000. And it's just,
so they carry the $900 of stuff to the car. They come back the next day and get another $900. Come back the next day and get another $900. And it's pushing all the businesses out of these cities. And you see, I think it was Target stores that were literally like locking every product up. Or maybe it was Walgreens. A pharmacy. I can't remember.
Walgreens.
Who was it?
Walgreens or CVS, one of those two.
Yeah, it was a pharmacy chain. Locking everything up, putting it behind plexiglass because they're sick of being robbed. And again, as I said earlier, this is far left governments doing this, causing this chaos, and then using that chaos that they cause as an excuse to come back and take our rights away from us. This is all by design. This isn't just basic stupidity. This is
a little bit of basic.
I mean, yeah, right. I mean, anybody that doesn't want freedom is stupid, but at least in my opinion. But the fact that these people are doing this, it's all carefully calculated, it's carefully orchestrated, and they're doing this all by design. And the fact that people haven't seen this and won't wake up to this fact is just mind-boggling to me. But, it's a multifaceted attack. It's an attack through our public school systems. It's an attack through our colleges. It's an attack from the very top down now from government. They've even infiltrated the military. They have done everything they can to bring this down to where we currently sit today, which is basically trying to tell the American people, you just don't need your liberties. The Constitution is an outdated document, and it's silly. The government's here to protect you. You don't need to protect yourselves. Just stay home. We'll put a check in your mailbox and just vote for us. I mean, that's where they're going with this stuff. It's ridiculous. I hate it.
Tim,
hate it.
Tim, I
Take me back to the 80s, please.
I can hear the viewers clapping right now. I think that may have been a Tim rant. I don't know. We'll debate it later.
Borderline.
It's borderline Tim rant. Well, so that's what's so fascinating about where we're at, right? So, like, if you zoom out and you take out the obviously emotional trauma of your country being destroyed, or at least attempted to be destroyed, I personally think it's very resilient.
They're trying.
They're trying. I personally think it's very resilient, and there's going to be a awakening from Americans' perspective in time. But if you look at what they're doing, it's systematic. They didn't like the system as it was, so they became the system, and now the system is turning on the people. I think, without getting too far into all the different pieces of it, because I mean, at the baseline, we are still Second Amendment related. Yeah. But I think that's where we're kind of recognizing it's like, okay, this is getting a little uncomfy. This is a little like that whole frog into the pot thing. Like, they didn't do the slow temperature turn up anymore. Now they're just doing right into the boiling water. They're just like, what? That frog needs to be fried instant. Let's do this.
Straight into the microwave. Yeah.
Right. Like, just right in there. They've kind of abandoned that slow roll tactic. But I personally think it's going to backfire on in my own personal opinion. But I mean,
it almost always does. Just give it time. We'll get there.
The eternal optimist over here.
We'll flip the script on them. We'll get to them.
Eventually.
They won't win. Yeah.
No, I don't think so. Yeah. But the interesting...
We'll stay diligent.
Oh, hell yeah, we will. I got children to pass this stuff on to. But...
Absolutely.
The interesting thing about this, kind of re-encapsulate this entire thing, you've got Mexico talking about a state-to-state, like an actual country-to-country lawsuit against manufacturers. You've got Uvalde families going after the insurance companies. You've got them going after the manufacturers themselves. You've got them going after the stores that sold the firearms, but they only could do it with actual government approval through the NICS system. And then they're going after the NICS system itself. So, I mean, at a certain point, this doesn't seem like you're trying to go after necessarily gun manufacturers. At a certain point, this seems like a money grab. What are your thoughts, and wrap it? You can have last one.
For Mexico, I definitely think it's a money grab, and I also think they're assisting those that are friendly to them in the U.S. government, the Mexican government. They're trying to help the Biden regime. I would imagine. I don't know that for a fact, but it just certainly seems that way because, again, this lawsuit seems absolutely ridiculous. So we'll see how it plays out. We will watch this, and we'll see if this progresses to the courts. Hopefully it gets tossed. It should, based upon my limited legal knowledge, which isn't much. But it would be nice to see this thing tossed, because it seems silly at its face value. All right, guys, if you'd like to be part of our call-in show, the best way to do that, obviously, is to follow the link in the video description below. That'll take you to a Google Doc. Fill out the information. We'll contact you. We'll get you on the show. You can ask a question, make a statement. We'll have a conversation. It's always a good time and informative. Thank you for watching. We'll talk to you guys soon.